Cairo in Montana. Cairo, hi, you're on the air with Chris TV and Grace. How can we help you tonight?
Hi. Sorry. I guess I've had something that I've been thinking about a lot lately, and I guess I just sorry.
That's okay. It says here that you're asking, is it healthy for your gender identity to fluctuate around different groups of people? Is that about right?
Yeah, basically. Just
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I'd say absolutely yes. I think a whole bunch of things change based on the different groups of people that you're in. The way I talk changes. The way I feel comfortable dressing changes. The kinds of things I talk about changes. So gender to me is just another social construct, and so it's malleable to different social situations. I have some friends where I feel like a total bro, like one of the dudes, and we'll go and we'll hang out, and I'll be in sweatpants, no makeup, not even caring, and it's awesome. And I feel validated in that more masked side of myself. And then there are other times where maybe I'm going on a date with somebody and I want to look pretty, and so I get dressed up and I have high heels and I wear a lot of makeup, and that's a different social context with a different person, but it's still me. So yeah, I think that at least as far as I'm concerned, it's not only healthy but expected.
Yeah, I won't contradict that at all. I'll only add that there's some concern if you're asking if it's healthy. I think that is a question that only you can answer, because it's definitely valid to feel yourself shift, to feel these different parts of yourself being drawn out of you and interacting with your environment in different ways. I would want you to ask yourself the question, is any of this because of how safe I feel or how safe I don't feel? And that may be an indication that there are spheres of your life where you don't feel safe. None of that is to say that your gender fluidity is unhealthy. I'm not suggesting that at all, so much as the fact that it's important to be listening to that feeling. So if you're getting a sense of whiplash, like you are uncomfortable in your identity or like you're shifting back and forth rapidly, that doesn't need to be the case. But if that is how you're feeling right now, those are some of the questions I might encourage you to be asking yourself.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Right.
So how does that line up with your experience or some of the maybe stress you're feeling now?
Well, I think, I don't know. Like, I guess I have some of that, because it's like I find in spaces where I don't know, it's really weird, because sometimes like I'll be with someone who I'm like super comfortable with, and I'll just, I'll feel like one of the bros, or I'll feel like just like super mask, and I'll feel really comfortable and really good in that place. But then like I'll also kind of have that same response like in places where I don't feel so comfortable or validated, like it almost feels like I overcompensate. Like, I don't know. It's just something that I've been paying more attention to lately. And I guess I think I've always been doing it, but I've just like recognized it more. So it's something that I'm kind of like, I don't know if this is something that I should be worried about or not.
Yeah. If gender is a performance, we perform differently on opening night than we do for the matinee. We perform differently for the home crowd or for a crowd that feels a little bit hostile. Our performance can change night to night, and it might be something to be curious about. And if you're getting a bunch of feedback, if you're listening to your nervous system and feeling that there's a lot of anxiety there, then yeah, it may be something to ponder and run to ground. But I don't think that any fluidity in your gender is something to be concerned about. I think that that's just part of who you are.
Yeah, I think that's a good point to bring up as well. Cairo, is that the fluidity is not an issue here. The fluidity is understandable and realistic and science. Like it makes sense. I think the thing that maybe I'm also kind of struggling with right now is deprogramming some of the reactions and some of the social interactions that I've been asked to do as somebody who was raised with the expectation I was going to turn into a woman, right? And that didn't end up happening, but I still have programmed all of these responses that are very typically feminine. And so it does make certain situations more awkward. Like I would definitely feel more uncomfortable going on a date with a guy as somebody who was presenting masc, right? That's something I could do and something I should be able to do, but it might take me out of my comfort zone and maybe even feel uncomfortable. In the same way, when I bump into someone in the elevator, right, or I run into a stranger, my first response is to my pitch, my voice goes up a little bit, and I kind of like duck my head and don't make eye contact, and it's very like this kind of almost submissive thing that I was taught to do as a kid that doesn't describe me anymore. And I kick myself afterwards because I'm like, God, that's not who I am. Why did I do it like that? I'm not that person. So yeah, I think a lot of this uncomfortability might just come from trying to deprogram yourself from the things that you were taught to do.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
That's a really good question, though, and not something we talk about very often. So thank you so much for bringing it up to us tonight.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate you talking to me about it. You really kind of made me feel a lot better about it. So
good.
I really appreciate that.
That's awesome.
Glad to hear
it. Thanks so much for calling in, Cairo. Have a good rest of your night.
Have a good night.